Then I was a young candidate attorney, and Comrade Jack just got appointed as Deputy Director of the Department of Housing and Local Government. I was always wearing a Sasco t-shirt, and that made him curious about me. The first day I got there, I noticed him, this big, massive guy with a magnetic and effervescent character. He spoke and joked with everyone, the workers and the owners of the place. 6:30 in the morning, we used to have breakfast, and 7 o'clock in the evening, we used to have dinner. And every time he enters the dining room, the atmosphere will be euphoric. Everyone would just get excited. Hier is meneer Jack het nog gekom om te kom eet. So, one day as I was returning from work, I saw him sitting on a bench in the foyer of the guest house, and he called me and asked whether, with these Sasco t-shirts, am I still a student in the R? I then told him what I was doing in the R, and he informed me that he just got appointed as Deputy Director at the Department of Housing and Local Government. He then sent me to town to buy him some fruits. From there, we developed a relationship, and he started waking me up every morning. In the morning when he wakes up, he used to knock on the door of my room. Thembu, vuka fondini. Wakungalalo. A week thereafter, we went to the ANC office to transfer our membership to the R branch. His membership was from Victoria West branch, and mine from Belleville South ANC branch. We moved out of the Verpleeg Centrum to share a flat together, and towards the end of the year, we attended a regional conference where we both got elected into the Regional Executive Committee as additional members, and subsequently got elected into the Regional Working Committee. Then the regional chair of Pixley in 1997, it was Comrade Sokacha, still here. And I think Uhlobi in that conference was elected as the Deputy Regional Secretary. Uhlobi Monakali is now the regional chairperson of Pixley. Comrade Jack's growth and rise in the structures of the ANC was not parachuted. It was an organic growth meshed with substance. He spent many years involved in student politics, got involved in ANC branch activities, and served in various capacities in SADU. Later on, he served as an REC additional member, Deputy Regional Secretary, and Regional Chairperson, taking over the baton from Comrade Mqolisi Sokacha. He served as the Regional Chairperson for 10 years and thereafter was elected to the PEC and the PWC. These, comrades, is called organic growth, where no stages of leadership are jumped, and there is a corresponding political maturity for every stage of growth. There's some of the challenges that the movement is sitting with today. It's simply because of the lack of corresponding political maturity with the levels of leadership we are serving in. Get somebody in the PEC and to ask yourself a question, but how did this one come here? PEC, you look into the NEC, at the leadership there, and to ask yourself, but where's the corresponding political maturity that gives this individual a right to serve in this structure? And that is always due to lack of organic growth. He was at the forefront of the campaign to get me elected into the PEC in 1998. He led the campaign for my election as the Deputy Provincial Secretary, the Provincial Secretary, and in the last conference, as the Provincial Chairperson of the ANC. He was at the pinnacle of these campaigns and risked everything. And when I thanked him for these sacrifices, he would always say, "Siyabotshwa noba zibhityile Mthembu. I fight like this because I trust you." And when things are tough, he always invoked his favorite cliche, "Indoda ayikhali." Program director, there is one thing about Comrade Jack that we all know, is that he is a fighter, but a fighter with a loving and a big heart. He was never malicious or sought self-glory and self-adulation. Because of the trust he had in me, we became each other's confidants. Jack is sleeping in his casket today with a ton load of my secrets stretching over 23 years. I have never picked up issues I confidentially raised with him in the volatility of the streets in the Northern Cape or anywhere in the country. He was more than a comrade and a confidant to me, but a brother. But I picked up that he has cultivated similar relationships with many other comrades in the province. This is because Comrade Jack was not a double-dipper. He was not a hypocrite that awaits to devour you at the first available opportunity. He was a master craftsman, honest and genuine in his engagement with politics. He was forthright and a robust engager. We spent lots of time together talking about our families, the country, and the politics of the province. He loved his family with a deep sense of affection. He got devastated with the passing of his younger brother. This pain was worsened with the passing of his mother and later his father. I would be amongst the first people he would phone, "Mthembu, ixhewukazi lam liswelekile." And later on, call again, "Mthembu, ixhego lam liswelekile." He loved his wife dearly. I was informed when the relationship commenced, and he gave me full account of what happened. And we were all here in Graaff-Reinet for his wedding. He loved his siblings. If any one of them was not well, he would call, "Yes, Mthembu, irhutmane yam ayiphilanga." He had deep and enduring love for all his children. He would relate to me about each one of them, their progress in life and disappointments. I want to appeal to his children that for the sake of your dad, you must close ranks, love and protect each other. One of the prominent attributes of Comrade Jack is that he was a hard worker and not a victim to cheap money derived through corruption. He was the Deputy Director for the Department of Local Government and Housing in Pixley-Kaseme district, and that district became one of the best performing districts in the province. He later became the municipal manager of Pixley-Kaseme district municipality and got awards as one of the best performing municipalities in the province. He became the MEC of Transport, Safety and Liaison, then MEC of Health, MEC of Finance, Economic Development and Tourism, and now MEC for Education. His deployment to these different portfolios brought about visible changes in their performance. In less than a year in the Department of Education, there were massive improvements in the grade 12 results. He was not a paper pusher, a check collector. He was a diligent MEC, read and critically engaged with issues. This irritated many public servants, and almost in each department he got deployed, he would conduct an investigation to unearth corruption and would always say, "Mthembu, mayingatyiwa imali karhulumente kungasetyenzwa." This bears so much relevance with the current challenges confronting the country. The stealing of money meant to bolster our response to the deadly COVID-19. The procurement of medical equipment and supplies has evoked some German Nazi looting spirit amongst us. When we engage on the historical account of the causes for the defeat of the German Nazi by the Allied forces in 1944, historians identify many causes, and one of them is the levels of corruption, plunder, and looting of the public purse by the Nazi generals. At a critical and watershed moment, when the German army was at the brink of defeat and being slaughtered by the Allied forces, the heartless Nazi generals were busy looting and plundering the public purse, misappropriating resources meant for soldiers at the front line of the war. This weakened the German defense as there was no adequate military supplies. One writer who investigated the levels of corruption by the Nazi generals during World War II characterizes it as a moment of death of all human conscience. The writer further says, this was a sad period where the Nazi parasites engulfed German politics using ideology as a pretext to suck the last ounce of blood of the German people. Corruption in Hitler's reign was an important element in securing the grip on power and had been a structural and propping element of the Nazi regime, its politics and polycratic structures. South Africa is now the 5th highest country in the world on COVID-19 transmissions. This means the country is confronted with an enormous and unprecedented health challenge. The plunder and loot of public resources meant to curb the spread of COVID-19 and to save the lives of the poor people marks our own moment of death of all human conscience. In this regard, the behavior and attitude of some of us is similar, if not worse, to that of the greedy Nazi generals, who at a critical moment, their corrupt behavior weakened their country's response to the military onslaught that led to the loss of more than 4.3 million German lives. The massive corruption with regard to COVID-19 procurement at a time when the country is confronted with such unprecedented hardships is a blight and a stinking stain on the image of the governing party. In honor of Comrade Jack, we must commit ourselves to fight and root out corruption in all its manifestations. We must be activists against corruption. Corruption poses an existential challenge to our organization and is the biggest inhibiting factor to development. We must ensure that corruption does not become a structural and propping element in our politics as it did with the Nazis. This generation of leaders must courageously take up the struggle against corruption, or else we will preside over a failed predator state that feeds on the hardships of its people. So the people that misappropriated and squandered COVID-19 resources must be raided in cowboy style. The fight against corruption begins with building unity in the ANC. There is no divided organization that can meaningfully fight corruption. Divisions breed corruption. These are twins. And our leaders must stop communicating conflicting messages on this matter. At this critical juncture, we are subjected to such harsh scrutiny. As an enduring tribute to this giant, we must intensify our work to build unity in the ANC and the broader alliance movement in the province. Comrade Jack worked for unity. In Pixley Kaseme, he declined nomination to senior positions on a number of occasions. In 2007, he declined a nomination to the position of the Deputy Provincial Chairperson. And during the last conference, there were people who approached him to stand as a provincial chair, which he declined. He did all of this because he wanted to see unity prevailing in the province. He never had uncontrolled political ambitions. His ambitions were calibrated, and his moves were informed by the imperative and need to build unity in the Northern Cape. It is precisely this attitude that made it possible for him and his collective to build Pixley Kaseme into one of the most united regions of the ANC, not only in the province, but in the country. We must learn from Comrade Jack not to have our lives driven by uncontrolled political ambitions that endangers the unity of our glorious movement. Comrades with uncontrolled ambitions tend to become stormtroopers of factions, jumping from one group to another, depending on what position or spoils are on offer. That's not how Comrade Jack was. He was a principled leader and was always prepared to defend the truth at the risk of suffering personal loss. He would always say, "Liens is soos 'n kort kombers. As jy jou kop wil toemaak, dan is jou voete beter." We lost an audacious, roaring giant, a gallant fighter, and an embodiment of impeccable revolutionary values of honesty, hard work, diligence, humility, and working for unity. He never withdrew into moral indolence and looking down on other people despite their stations and positions in life. His confidence and energy was very infectious. As the people that worked with Comrade Jack, the values that he embodied should serve as a compass that directs our conduct and articulations. And we dare not fail him. It is with this that Comrade Jack will rest in eternal peace and power. Rus en vrede, onze vriend. Broer en collega, ons sal hande op die ploeg hou en nie oor ons skouers kyk nie. Hamba kahle Mntlane, uyosikhonzela. Hamba Dingi, hamba Mqabane, hamba Nkomo Ezibomvu, zakwamlanjana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Premier. Reverend Faleni. Where's Reverend Faleni? Reverend, it's your turn. Tell us up.
Manithabathela ithuba ndibulise kwi-premiers zamaphondo omabini, ndibulise kupisi, ndibulise kwifamily yakwaJack. Kuthiwa Premier Mabuyane, umntu xa eseBloemfontein kuthetha isiSuthu. Sawunyanzeleka ke ngosisempuma koloni sizame ukuthetha isiXhosa. Khona ukuze nozawuhamba apha athi ndisivile isiXhosa njengoba ubawo uJack ebethetha isiXhosa. Ixesha ke lityiwe zizinja. Ilizwi ebesawugangatha phezu kwalo lipha kuncwadi kaLuka. Isahluko sisesibhozo. Ivesi ngu-22 uyokutsho kuvesi 25. Masibambe nje lamqolwana pha kuvesi 25 efundeka ngolu hlobo. In fear and amazement, they ask one another, "Who is this? He commands even the winds and the waters, and they obey him." Xa ifunda apha eqaleni kule vesi ye-22, uYesu uthi kubafundi bakhe, "Make siwelele ngaphesheya." iBhayibhile endiyifundayo ithi into yokuqala enzekayo apha kubo bazibonile izinto uYesu bekade zenza. Into evele ifika apha kubo kubakho uvuyo olukhulu ngoba simbonile umntu ophilisa abantu. Ngoku sizawuhamba naye, silala naye lately. Siyazazi futhi ukuba xa sihamba naye Sizaba safe endleleni. They were having a great joy ekuqaleni. Khange bazi uba oluhambo lwentsaba, oluhambo labantu abangakufuniyo. The Bible tells us that on that great joy, then therefore there was a great storm. Xa usiza ukhwithelo, abantu noba besithi behamba nawe ziyajika intetho. Abanye bathi basekho siyazi ke siyibuza lento ngoba ukhuthelo luzile. iBhayibhile yasixelela ukufika kokhuthelo apha elwandle bazamazamana nesikhephe, kodwa kothapha ekuzamazameni kwabo bakhumbula olokubangabana asahambi sedwa. There is a great resolver esihambanayo enguYesu. Yiyo nto bayabehla bathi mfundisi awukhathali na, sitshabalala nje. Uthi uYesu kubo luphi ukholo lwenu, nilokholo mfutshane. Wayabuza uMqabane yena le nto alulanyelwa nasilwandle zonke ezi zinto zimve. Ikhona indoda enamandla onke elulanyelwayo zizinto ekufuneka sithole ithemba lethu silibeke kuye. Athi hone lonke ithemba leli libekeni kuye ngoba yena unikhathalele. Bantu boMzantsi Afrika nakweyiphi imeko ukhona uYesu osikhathaleleyo. Zingazama usidiliza ezinye izinto kodwa bayithemba lethu silibeka kuye, sazi ukuba ngabana yena unako usenzela izinto esingenakuzenzela thina. Athi uPawulos xa thetha athi abanethemba elinjalo xa the wabonakala bona bofana naye. Yangosi yoxolo, yangosi ethandwa, ingawasikelela amazwi, iwahlalisile ezintliziyweni zethu, idibo yethu Nkosi nguYesu Kristu. Amen.
Thank you very much. Let's take our brother to his final resting place to Sunnyside Graveyard. So from there, the police will take over. I thank you.
We want let's give the family rep. Yes,
For announcement.
The
Yeah.
elder.
Yeah, you will do that.
We'll
You will do-
speak. We'll speak to him as is in a
Okay, but you'll do it. Comrades, thank you. Thank you. Just one small announcement, then we'll allow you to sing. Just one announcement from the family. Before I give to the family member, it will only be the family and the dignitaries who will go to the graveside, comrades. Ne? Okay, let me give over to the family. Comrade Fufe, please.
Thanks, MEC. Zawuthetha isiXhosa torhwana. It's just a short announcement.
Mask.
Yes. Body is on the way from the parlor. Now it's gonna pass ekhayeni lika tatomncinci izogqitha apha. But sawucela nje sifumane nje imbekwana mhlawumbe umzuzu omnye okanye emibini kuba ielder yekhaya will speak to tatomncinci whilst ekuyes. Just amchazele ukuthi uyagqitha kwakhe. Enkosi.
Thank you. All right, comrades, you can sing. Ja, nee, ik denk ook zo. Nel. Als ik toilet man. Toilet. Met z'n maar in